All right. Welcome back, Chaz Smith.
Man, that was an Iron Man break right there is what it was.
You need it every once in a while.
Did we only miss one episode, though?
Believe it or not, yeah.
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
It's shocking.
I'm going to pat myself and yourself on our collective back.
So you were in Mexico for 10 days, then you were in Italy or off the coast of Italy for 10 days, and we only missed one show.
And you were in Austin, Texas. Deep in the heart of Texas.
I was, yeah. I don't think I need to go back.
Really? Are you done with Texas?
So, I mean, the exact opposite of Italy, where I need to go back all of the time.
A few episodes ago, you were, I feel, considering a possible potential move to Texas.
Somebody said that, but I never said that.
Okay. I thought you were, I thought you had considered the Lone Star State as a potential place to land.
No, I would, there's other states I would land in, but that I'd be open to, but not Texas. I mean, I know we have listeners in Texas. I don't want to really talk crap about Texas. I know that there's a lot of reasons to like it.
Yep.
But not my sensibility, really.
Okay. But Italy,
for sure.
sensibility.
So,
some
okay,
food,
so you just
some
got back.
vino.
We really should have not talked about it until we got on air because we just talked. But we could revisit some of this stuff. If you had the opportunity
Yes.
to have a second home, would it be in Hawaii or Italy?
Italy. If I had an opportunity to have a first home, it would be in Italy. I really do love Italy. Hawaii I love, but oh man, cursed me. I'm sorry. I have to pull back and change it to Hawaii.
Why?
Well, have I told this story on air before?
I'm not sure. I don't know which story this is.
I'm sitting, had just finished Welcome to Paradise, Now Go to Hell.
Okay.
Was back in Honolulu because I did this pig hunting story.
I saw that.
Yep. I thought that initially the pig hunting story was a ruse to get me back to the island so I could be knocked off in the bush. Because the book Welcome to Paradise hadn't come out yet, but it had already been whispered to the heavies. So I'd already fielded some, what you think you're doing here, phone calls. So anyway.
So you're going off into the bush with people carrying weapons.
Exactly. People carrying weapons and dogs. Dogs who, flat tire pigs. Anyhow, so all went fantastic. Loved the guys I went pig hunting with. Was super great. But I got filthy. And so on the way home, I was in Honolulu, I think, for a couple more nights. I thought, I am filthy. I'm going to go to Gucci and get some new shoes. So I went into the Gucci store there. A fine shopkeeper. I think she was Japanese, but obviously living in Hawaii. So I was shopping around, bought a pair of fine shoes, told her as I was shopping that I just finished a book on Hawaii or on the North Shore. And she's like, oh, that's great. I hope you know, I've been trying to leave Hawaii for many, many, many years, but they say money that's made on Hawaii needs to stay on Hawaii. And so Hawaii will always suck you back in. And if you're fighting a losing battle, you're just going to be losing the rest of your life. So I feel at some point,
Interesting.
I didn't make much on Hawaii, but I think I need to go back to Hawaii at some point to repay the debts that the islands have given me.
Is she implying that there's a curse that exists?
It's not a curse. It's just, hey, if you make money here, it stays here. And if you ignore that and try to leave, then your money is going to be back in Hawaii or nowhere. Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe
Hawaii.
Home number 3 could be in Italy.
Yes, I'll go to Hawaii in order to get enough money then to buy 3 homes in Italy.
There you go.
Yeah.
But you can't use that money in Italy if you make the money in Hawaii.
Can't do it.
You're screwed.
Just Hawaii, Uber Alice.
It's a vicious cycle.
It is. It's
I feel like Hawaii would be a more logical choice for the second home because it's only 5 hours away from us.
It's the United States of America.
That makes it easier.
Yep.
Surfing, of course. It's also, I was going to say it feels like vacation. Like Italy, I guess, is relaxing as well, but there's a bit, I don't know. I should retract this whole statement. I was going to say it feels more adventurous as well.
I'll tell you,
right.
It's nothing. Like the way Italians live, I mean, they know I was sort of sending it up in the series of articles I did for Beach Grit as I was there. But the idea of the Dolce Vita, like the sweet life, I mean, everything is just, the temperature was perfect the entire time. The water temperature was perfect the entire time. Every single meal is perfect. Doesn't matter if you go, we had a Michelin star, I think it had 2 or 3 Michelin stars one night. Also, the, cheap bayfront restaurant the next day was just as good. I mean, where food in Italy, not for the elites, but for everyone, is something. Every cup of espresso you get is obviously fantastic. I mean, it is cliche to even mention, but every part of it is it is a sweet life.
Is there any other spot on the planet that you feel that passionate about?
I really love me some France too. France though I feel if you're not doing France high, it's kind of hard to do France low. Italy you can do, I think, at any level, and it's fantastic.
I like the south of France. Provence area is, to me, like it would be a tough call between that and Italy, but Italy would edge it out.
I mean, to me, Italy edges France purely because the top to bottom is fantastic. France, I mean, if I had multi-millions of all my Hawaiian money to live high on the hog, I would pick France. But for average living, Italy.
Yeah, I've never done France high.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know the difference.
Oh my goodness. France high is a thing.
I went to France, a couple of times when I worked in the wine business. And so I had appointments at wineries basically. So that felt like I was living high, because everybody is accommodating you and taking care of you and all that sort of stuff.
Would you stay at the wineries?
Well. No, not generally. Sometimes they'd have like accommodations next door that you stay at and that sort of thing. But the wineries generally, or the ones I visited anyways, are small and don't have the winery experience that the U.S. wineries have.
Do you ever think about getting back in the wine game, about leaving surf behind and re-embracing your heart's true home?
The sad part is I burned myself out so hard in that world that as soon as I turned my back, I never even looked in the rearview mirror.
No wistfulness about Cabernets.
I have gratitude for that time in my life because I learned so much, for the listeners who don't know, I not only worked in restaurants and then retail, but opened a retail shop that I ran for 5 years, kind of for the duration of the lease of the space. And by the end, when it was kind of time to renew, I had just been so burned out. I did it from like age 26 to 31.
What burned you out specifically?
80 plus hours a week and never kind of getting ahead of,
are the margins on wine just 30%? Not there? 30% margin?
30%. And this was just before e-com had really, there were big wine retailers that were utilizing it, but it was, you had to spend $30,000 to build out the e-com. There wasn't all these quick solutions that there are now. And so that wasn't an option for me. So we were limited by square footage, essentially. So the amount of people that you can get in and how much wine you can sell them, and thankfully we were working with a lot of small wineries, California-based wineries that you can't find elsewhere or that you have to be on a wait list to purchase if you want to buy direct from the winery. So we had like a clientele that wants these specific wines that they can't get anywhere else. So you can sell them a case of it. You say, hey, the new vintage of whatever just came out, and they're like, cool, I'll take a case. So you can make up some volume that way. You're not just selling individual glasses of wine to people or individual bottles. But even still, basically, we had hit the threshold of the amount of revenue that we can generate for this square footage. And we did that for a number of years. And it was only enough for me to make a middle-class income.
Okay.
But I'm working 80 to 100 hours a week. And the other thing is because it was that personal of a business, you're best friends with everybody.
Yeah.
So every customer that comes in wants to talk to you for an hour. And then beyond that, wants to eat and drink with you.
Yeah.
So then you're done on a Saturday night and they're like, oh, come over. Let's go to dinner tonight. Or come to my party tomorrow. And it was just way too gluttonous,
The sweet life of surf.
So yeah.
Just getting you out of having to eat and drink.
Exactly. You sound stupid to complain about it. You know what I mean? But it was it's grueling.
Yeah.
You can make as much money and more money working 40 hours a week and having zero responsibilities. Yeah. But back to Italy.
Yes.
Best meals I've ever had in my life have been in Italy. I don't know if this is okay to have. This conversation is okay to have considering you're a married man.
Sure.
The women are so beautiful.
Oh, I mean, the people are so beautiful.
They really are.
It doesn't even need to be a woman. Like the people, skin tone, like the way they carry themselves.
But let me ask you this. Is it strictly because it's novelty? Like, because I go there and I go, God, these people are beautiful. Then I go to France and I go, these women are totally beautiful in a different way. But after 2 weeks in France.
You're over a French woman?
I'm not over it, but some of the novelty wears off where I realize, oh, she has imperfections that were lost on me because I was so,
smitten with the novel.
Yeah.
With the new.
Of the dress or the affectation. Or
I mean, I just think that Italy, like there's something about that Mediterranean where France is, of course, Mediterranean, has a Mediterranean coast. And of course, Italy is surrounded by the Adriatic and the Mediterranean. But there's something about that Mediterranean air and the whole thing that just makes for a beautiful people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. The people in Italy have never gotten less beautiful to me.
I mean, just imagine if Leonardo Fioravanti wins Olympic gold for his Italy. Be a wonderful celebration.
Nah.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You can't, I should think this thought through, but you can't achieve kind of that level of greatness coming from a place that has such beauty and ease. Yeah, like you have to come from Russia to win Olympic gold.
So you think Leonardo Fioravanti? What are the numbers on Leonardo Fioravanti?
Funny you should ask. I've got him.
Do you have betting lines across the board?
I do. It'll take me a minute to pull up.
Okay. But
I'll work on it.
I felt pretty good. Speaking of celebrations, I don't know if you read, but I alone, or not me alone, but me and two friends were the reason that Italy won the Euro Cup when we were there, which felt pretty good.
I did not read that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Phenomenal. I'll tell the story while you're pulling it up.
Well, so you can actually use the money that you earned from that to buy property in Italy.
I should. And I should go back and demand that they recompense, like just a token of gratitude. So,
I think so.
Flew in to Rome, got the train to Naples, went straight to the yacht charter place. It's, when you're chartering a yacht, we had a 45-foot, I think it was a Beneteau, it's a sailing yacht. And so, it's like you're chartering this yacht. So there's a bunch of check-ins and, you go over all the stuff to make sure that whatever, it's like renting a car, except times 50 because there's 50 billion more things that can break and on and on and on. So a couple hours of that. And then we were out on the high seas and we decided to go to the island of Ischia first. Just kind of right across the way from Naples. So pulled into Sant'Angelo, a small town on, I can't remember which end it was. Saw a bunch of chairs getting set up in the plot, and they had like a small square. A bunch of chairs were getting set up, a bunch of tables and stuff were getting set up. So we went to the bar first and had a drink, and then I wandered over to the restaurant today. Could I have a table? And there was some little Sri Lankan waiter guy who said, "Nope, we're full." And I saw the sea of tables, and there was not one person there. And I was like, okay. And, again, haven't slept. This is still on the first leg, so we've been up for over 24 hours at this point. But, okay, fine. Did a wander, town small, didn't see anything better than this restaurant. And this is the restaurant that was recommended, too, by the captain at the charter place. So went back again. Now the sun is starting to set, and I see they're starting to set up a movie screen at the far end of this plaza. And so I found another, like the manager, I guess, of the restaurant, and I said, "Hey, is there any table at all?" Still empty. And that's when it dawned on me, oh, wait, they're setting this up. Italy was in the final of the Euro Cup soccer game versus England, which was going to start at 9 p.m. So clearly everything was reserved for this, right? So he wasn't just being a jerk. There was no tables. But the manager looked me up and down in the eye, up and down, whistled over. They set a table up like on the corner with the best view of the movie. It was like the primo table, right? Set it up. And I feel he and I had an understanding at that moment that if these guys stay in this restaurant, there was three of us. If these three stay in this restaurant, these three Americans, Italy will win Euro Cup. So we sat down, game started. At first they literally brought us over a bottle of, I think it was Belvedere vodka, like sat it on the table. It was a pre-fee, menu, bustling around. Now the plaza's full. Everybody's there. It's like everybody in their finest, right? Like this thing had been sold out, I'm sure, since Italy had made it to the finals. So game goes on. First half, I think England scored right away. And it was like, groaning crowd, but everybody was sitting there and, goes on. Second half, I think Italy scored in the second half. Early on, one of the managers came out and gave me like a trumpet thing. He said, here, when they do good, this is what you hit. But there was some understanding, but at the end, literally, so it goes into first overtime, second overtime. By the end, the entire restaurant staff was surrounding our table and just like patting our backs, rubbing our heads for luck. Italy wins last second. Owner of the restaurant comes over, show me the man who brought us the luck. Yeah, it was while the whole thing is just erupting. Yeah.
Did they think you were somebody else?
No, they just knew. I think the manager had a feeling, and I had a feeling too. I never felt anything more like serious in my life. Like, as long as we stay here, Italy will win. You know, and by this time it was like on third. I mean, it was so, we'd been awake for so long. One of friends was falling asleep at the table. I had to keep knocking him, even though it was, booze was flowing and the whole thing was just going off like
crazy.
Yeah.
So a premonition came over you.
He
stared you up and down.
I had a premonition that, oh wait, if we sit here, Italy will win. And I think he knew it too.
Have you ever had something similar in your life?
No.
Out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
You knew what it was instantly.
I fully knew. As long, and it, like, I never once doubted. England scores right away. And I was like, who cares?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Italy's coming back. Don't you worry. Would tell the waiters, like literally at the end, the entire cooking staff, the entire wait staff, and the entire management staff was surrounding our table.
Man, I wish we can talk to them to understand what they sensed or what they knew.
It was the same thing I sensed, I think. It was just, as long as we sit here, Italy wins.
How do you bottle this? How do you recreate this?
I think it was a one singular moment.
Crazy.
Yeah, fun.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, I feel good for Italy. I felt proud that I could gift that to Italy.
Well, I mean, honestly, they earned it based on the experience that they gave you in their country.
It's true, but I don't think I could recreate the same thing for Leonardo Fioravanti.
Nor do you, have the sentiment for him that you have for his nation state.
It's true. But what are the betting lines?
So actually, he's not on them. I only got like the top 6.
Okay.
The Gabriel Medina is the favored at plus 135.
So that means if you bet $100, you win $100.35.
I guess.
That's what that means.
Okay.
I think.
Idolo's plus 200. John's plus 450. Kanoa's plus
Wait,
7.
maybe I got that wrong. There's no way. There's no way that you bet 100 on John and you win 450.
No.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I don't understand.
Okay.
I don't know. Follow betting at all. But John's plus 450. Kanoa's plus 700. Julian's plus 1,200. Owen Wright's plus 1,200. Jeremy's plus 1,200. Kalohe's plus 15.
Ooh, Kalohe. So put some money on Kalohe Andino is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So when it comes down to the nations, Brazil is negative 185.
Okay.
USA's plus 470. Japan's plus 600. Australia's plus 700. France is plus 2,200. Portugal's plus 4,100. So Italy's not even on there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm putting money. I'm going to find a betting house and put money on Kalohe Andino.
Okay.
I have a feeling.
I don't.
You don't? Who do you got?
Brazil. Well, Japan
Gabe?
and Brazil. So I would go.
Hiroto.
Yeah. Hiroto.
Hiroto, sorry.
Hiroto Ohara and Kanoa.
Hiroto Ohara's Thug Life that you recently reposted is one of my favorite internet or Instagram moments of the past
Ever.
5 years.
Ever.
Yeah, ever.
I mean, it's ridiculously
I buy
funny.
cars. What does he say?
Yeah. Trying to buy some cars.
Trying to buy some cars.
Trying to buy some cars.
Yeah.
And the fact, so English clearly isn't his second language. It's probably not even his third language.
Yeah.
It's probably his fourth language. It's clearly not his first language. And so delivering a joke on stage after you win the US Open is a bold move.
Sure.
And also it's not even a classic joke. It's kind of like, it could just not be funny.
Sure.
It could be lost in translation. So that was a bold move of his. And he nailed it. The way that he pretends like he's thinking of an earnest answer.
Yeah.
He puts his eyes down and he's like, Joe Turpel gives him the question of, hey, what are you going to do now that you just won the $100,000? And he's like, well, use that money maybe trying to buy some cars.
Yeah.
And he raises his voice and just nails the timing.
Imagine
it's so good.
Imagine trying to lay a joke down in front of Joe Turpel too.
Yeah.
Like a total wet rag who could theoretically suck the air right out of your joke. I mean, makes it even bolder.
I wonder how it landed in public.
I mean, his head back laugh, it had to have landed well.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the crowd there, you can't even hear what's on stage or whatever. But the fact, so Peter King was the one who made it Thug Life, used the graphics and the soundtrack and all that sort of stuff, put the glasses on him, But yeah, genius. The best. And he's in my heart forever.
Hiroto's a good call though.
And he's got Kanoa.
Sure.
the thing.
But I'm going to say I feel this is Kalohe's moment. I feel like there's been a swell, a surge, and Kalohe knows how to do this.
Okay.
Kalohe's there.
Well, let's get into it then. We've got Olympics on the notes. There's some stuff I'll come back to that we need to catch up on. But tell me about the Battle of Personal Brands, because Kalohe's in here. I
mean, Battle of Personal Brands to me is the most exciting. It's even more exciting than the surfing itself, of course.
What is the Battle of Personal Brands?
Well, look every so often, I think mainstream culture gets hungry enough for an action sport, a surfer, skater, snowboarder, to come up from not relative obscurity, but come up from regional fame, right? Localized fame in surf or skate or snowboard. And boom, all of a sudden they are a proper famous star, right? Where I think it could be argued that I suppose Tony Hawk has reached that threshold. Shaun White, I think, though, got there directly from the Olympics, right? It was the Flying Tomato, his not only years of dominance, but just his the Shaun White brand was created because of the Olympics. Shaun White would have never been a, proper famous star had he not appeared in the Olympics. If he was just an X Games guy and all that, he would have been famous amongst snowboarders, maybe snowboarder adjacent folk, but never, a known celebrity. So I feel that this Battle of Personal Brands, a surfer could rise, a surfer could become a mega mainstream star, eclipsing Kelly Slater even for name recognition within the general public, within a home from Decatur, Illinois to, wherever, Salem, Oregon.
It's weird how certain towns that really have done nothing to earn their spot in our awareness.
Like Decatur?
Yeah, become the name that you use.
Yeah.
Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Des
Moines.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Okay, so what will it take for Kanoa or Kalohe to become the Flying Tomato?
Here's the thing. There's a bit of magic sauce in there, right? So the ones that I've highlighted so far were today, Dark Horse Carissa Moore enters the chat.
Yeah.
I think they have to have an interesting backstory, right? Like Shaun White's story of starting snowboarding very young, whatever.
It's not that interesting.
Not that interesting, but interesting enough for, lived in a van basically with his mom, and like this super committed, crazy parent who's getting their kid to do this thing.
It's a standard Olympian story.
Completely. But I think the media and or the general public needs that hook. They need a standard hook, which Kanoa and Kalohe both have, right? Like they have that standard hook. So, because you need a way in. It can't just be this thing that nobody's ever heard of. Idolo also has an interesting, from the, Idolo didn't come from the ghetto, did he? That was Little Plumber.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So.
Can I posit a theory of why Shaun White?
Yes.
Red hair.
I mean, that's part of it. He had something distinctive for sure.
He also plays it up like it fits his personality. His personality is like jovial and kind of irreverent and all that kind of stuff. And so that long flowing hair, it becomes marketable. It becomes kind of identifiable.
The Flying Tomato.
Yeah.
But so you think that neither Kalohe nor Kanoa nor Carissa will be raised to the level of dinner table banter?
Bad news for Kalohe. He's milk toast. He's like white bread. There's nothing to sink your teeth into. And the idea of like a good looking white male from Southern California, it's passé enough. At this point.
It's not enough.
For 40 or 50 years, that was what you needed to actually get to the top. Now he's actually the villain, I think, in a lot of, society's eyes. And you have to have some pizzazz. You have to have some personality. You have to have... And he's void of all of that. And he's a great dude, I'm sure.
But he's funny. He's been throwing out witty.
Barely.
He's been throwing out some witty interviews for like Kalohe stuff.
Barely.
Best in market.
Do you remember that Shaun White one where he's like, yeah, I went to the party and had some drinks, and he's telling this story about, I think might have even been winning gold.
Yeah.
And the reporter who's like on a teleconference thing, she's like, wait, what do you mean having drinks? Like, you're not 21 yet. And immediately he goes, I'm talking about Dr. Pepper's baby.
Yeah.
Or Mountain Dew baby or something like that. Like immediately is right there to make the joke. Like that's personality.
I feel that Kalohe could do that. I mean,
Hiroto.
I know Shaun White. Kalohe smashes Shaun White's personality. Shaun White's, oh yeah.
Right.
Kalohe, I feel Kalohe. Okay, if Kalohe, here's the thing. If Kalohe wins gold, Kalohe goes on Jimmy Kimmel or whatever shows exist anymore, delivers a winning, warm, funny. He's all American, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying is Decatur, Illinois, right? He doesn't have to be famous in New York City. He can be famous. He can be America's surfer.
There's an argument to be made that Kalohe is all of those things, and they have all been repressed by the management of his mainstream sponsors.
Yes.
Because for the last decade, you had to toe or walk the company line in order to kind of appeal to the masses. But I think now that can actually be a hindrance for you.
Do you then think that like there's no surfer that's going to come out of these games that is better than they were before going in terms of their marketing?
I love the idea that you're going with the personal brand and somebody will become. I think that it could happen. I'm just not sure who it is. And I'm not convinced that it's Kalohe. Honestly, Hiroto, for the reasons we've already stated, could just jump out of obscurity.
I mean, it's true. If Hiroto goes and throws down in those little waves and then also does the talk show circuits and is just cracking up and being funny.
And somebody like Idolo or Gabe could make an effort for it. We haven't talked about John Florence yet.
John Florence is the one that I would think will absolutely not, because I think John Florence specifically does not want that. John Florence is happy to let Florence the Marine, Florence the Machine, be, tick along as a brand. He's made his money or making his money from whatever he's doing. I don't think John wants to be out front.
I feel like his management is doing a fantastic job of actually keeping him in ESPN's headlines or, Whoop or Peloton, like getting him to be a Peloton trainer, like keeping him out there in that awareness. So he's almost becoming Lance Armstrong was for cycling, John's almost that guy now for professional surfing, but it's different than what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, it's
different than like a catapult to stardom out of obscurity.
Yes.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm going to put my money on Hiroto. I mean, what about Kanoa? Is he out of the question?
Ooh, I mean, I think Kanoa is going to really, really cement himself probably in Japan. I mean, if he performs, I think he's probably already there. Like Japan, Korea, maybe China is the a boy band, good looking, thing. I mean, he could be a mega star. I just don't see him. Kanoa's thing is so bland, so Stepford. Well, I talk about Kalohe. I mean, Kanoa is like a plastic version of Kalohe. Well, so I just see that not really translating to an American audience.
Yeah. I think personality is the key here. Personality is what's going to do it.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Kanoa's is more manufactured in a boardroom.
Yeah.
So, and that has an audience and he'll make millions of dollars off of it. But
sure. I mean, did you read the outside piece on Kanoa?
No, I read your article on it, but I didn't read the actual piece.
It's a great piece. I mean, Daniel Duane is a fantastic writer, and it was the most insight I've had to Kanoa, but most of my insight is, what if he really is this, not shallow, but what if this is literally the level? Like, it's not that there's this tempest of emotion or humanity inside of him. He really is as he appears.
Right.
Like his parents pushing him into this dream was not like breaking him ever. He wanted to go along with it. It was their shared dream together, and he achieved it, and everything's great and wonderful. And yeah.
I've known him since he was probably 10 years old or something like that. But I haven't talked to him in the last 3 or 4 years, I'd say. And also never knew him well enough to answer that question.
Sure.
My only experience with him was it supports your theory of what you just said and validates it. But again, I would never have a deep conversation with any 10-year-old or 12-year-old or 15-year-old or 16-year-old. So I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
Are you going to watch? Are you going to watch live?
Yeah, it's funny.
Is it Saturday or when's theoretically the window opens Saturday, right?
I think the window opens Sunday and the swell that typhoon hits Sunday. And so but it's going to be too big and windy. So maybe Monday, Tuesday, there could be waves. And then I think there's something scheduled at the end of the waiting period too. There could be more waves then.
How good is there?
It takes 3 days.
There's a typhoon.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I did not expect it.
Nope. Who called it? Somebody called it. I mean, Bialis called it, but somebody else called it fairly early.
Really?
Yeah. That like, hey, this is, you're all talking about how small it's going to be the whole time, but this is a window when these things start churning up.
Well, it remains to be seen too.
I mean,
there could be nothing, you
sure.
know, like it all is subject to change, especially with a typhoon. Regarding Kalohe Andino and his the New York Times, he said, it's so weird competitive surfing. You could be the best surfer, the most talked about surfer, whatever. And you go out there and you just need a score and you cannot find a wave. It's like Tom Brady needs to go down to the field for the winning score and he cannot find the football.
I liked it.
It summed up something that we talk about all of the time, but it made me realize that it actually, it's going to undermine that sheer thing that is kind of the fundamental thing with surfing is going to undermine it as a sport on the national or on an international level.
Unless though, but you're always preaching here that it's nature is the essential part, right? That's why wave pools aren't fun. But so if the broadcast team and the announcers are savvy enough to introduce this as interesting, right? Where you can, I mean, this is the dang thing. Waiting is only boring like when you're watching it. Like waiting for sets or waiting for waves or when the surfers have dropped anchor, etc., is only really boring because the World Surf League doesn't know how to treat those moments. You got Joe Trappell droning on at his flat level. You have nothing in there. If you had a savvy enough announcement team, they could be recapping what needs to happen. They could be saying, okay, this right here is pure tension, right? Like imagine a golfer, you know, in the wherever, like off the course, needs to make a great putt or hit or whatever. I don't follow golf, but he's sitting there, right? That this moment of waiting can be fraught with tension.
It is in golf. That's a perfect example.
Yeah, but it's just not in surfing because the announcers don't treat it that way. They just drone.
Yes. The other detail though is, and kind of more to Kalohe's point, is that often the lesser surfer wins. And that's a huge problem. So that's based on the way that the competition is structured, you know, and it's a problem. And I don't know that we can kind of leap into kind of mainstream awareness or relativity without solving that initial thing. So if everybody's watching it and they've heard John's story and all these great surfer stories, but then somebody like Leonardo Fioravanti comes through and smokes the field, and everybody even the general audience who knows nothing can go, he's not as good as those other guys. What the heck? What's even happening here? I feel like it undermines the credibility of the sport as a whole.
But I'm going to say sport is ripe and always wants that. They always want the unexpected, and surfing can deliver that.
You want the underdog to win based on their merit.
Sure. But I mean,
you don't want them to win based on some flawed conception of the judging criteria or the structure of the event.
To be honest, though, I'll be surprised. I will be shocked even. O'Hara, I think he's proven himself. I mean, he won the U.S. Open and stuff. He'd be a dark horse, but not as dark as could be imagined. But I would imagine that at the end of the Olympic, it's going to be the same old grab bag who's who of who we always see. It's going to be Gabriel Medina, Idolo. Let's say Kalohe is going to be in there. John's knee dependent will be in there. Like it'll be, I can't imagine we're going to see a surprise here, to be honest. It's not going to be Federico Moraes.
Good. Thankfully. And that's something that I do really appreciate the Brazilians for, is that despite all of the limitations with the structure and the judging criteria and all that sort of stuff that we see on the CT level, Gabriel Medina has steamrolled all of that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's kind of like whether the waves are pumping at Pipe or Chopu or they're 1 foot wherever, Gabriel Medina cuts through it all.
Well, sidestepping a bit, unless we need to talk more about the Olympics.
No.
The World Surf League yesterday on Instagram posted the final day format, which I hadn't seen before in this clear way. So it is surfer 5. Okay, so it's, again, top 5 in the world, 1 day surf off at Trestles. So first heat is surfer 4 versus surfer 5, right? Winner of that surfs against number 3 in the world. Winner of that surfs against number 2 in the world. Winner of that surfs against number 1 in the world. Champion.
Nope. Those two have a 3 heat battle.
Okay.
Best 2 out of 3.
Okay. Weird. But anyhow.
Necessary.
Yeah. Necessary. Weird. The World Surf League posted this on their Instagram. The comments, which at last, when I last looked, which was yesterday, which maybe it's 600 or something. I'm sure they have a bunch more now. I could not find one. I scrolled.
Me too.
And scrolled.
I screen recorded the scroll.
Yeah.
Just so I could post it because I've never seen anything like it.
Could not find one. I take that back. I found one. I found 2. I found one guy saying, hey, I don't know much about surfing, but this looks pretty cool. And one other guy saying, it's always good to try something new, which none of those are like, and I don't know anything about surfing. And hey, let's just try something new, are not outright endorsements. But what in the world is the World Surf League thinking?
Yeah.
Like, do they recognize this? Or are they thinking, you guys, none of you know what you're talking about. You're all haters. You're all mean and rude. We know we're going to deliver something great for you. You're going to love it. And then whatever, you just complain. That's all you do. You're going to love this. Trust us.
I've never seen as many negative, like a consensus of negative feedback on any post ever.
Yep.
And yeah, I specifically screen recorded the scroll just because I want to post it on Instagram to show people the absurdity of it. You and I talk about or give level criticisms for years now against the WSL. And so I worry that, oh God, are we just being haters sometimes? But no, it's identifying. If you're looking at something under a microscope and you can kind of identify these criticisms early on, and now we're seeing these things come to fruition despite the critique along the way. And now it's blatantly obvious to the general public that this thing is off into a ditch.
One of my as I was reading it, I was thinking, oh, wait a second. Oftentimes in surfing, the surfer who gets a rhythm, who surfs more heats will perform better than the surfer who's just dropped in, right? And so you think, okay, we're giving first place at the end of the year advantage, but I guess
that's why they need that.
That's why they need the 3
2 out of 3
because the guy coming in hot, but like a guy who surfed has found his rhythm in those waves is going to be kind of hard to stop, I think. So
let's do an actual analysis of who's who.
So do you, if you're the surfer, do you aim to end 3rd in the year as opposed to 1st?
Right.
Because I would think you would want, you don't want to get knocked out, but if you feel strong enough in your surfing and think, okay, I got this, I'm going to go sit 3rd so I can get 1 heat under the belt, another heat under the belt, take out 1st, and then go take out a couple more.
Right. So in practical terms, Gabriel Medina is going to win the season.
I think
going into lowers.
It'd be impossible for him not to almost at this point, right?
So let's say he's positioned in 1st going into lowers.
Yep.
Felipe Toledo is on the back of that top 5. So Felipe could be the guy in 5th. Now you put those 2 guys at lowers. I actually favor Felipe.
Yeah.
Stylistically, he lives in San Clemente now. Look at the way that he was surfing at Margaret River this year. He is spicy.
Yep.
And probably more scoring potential on the right at lowers than there is on the left anyways. So that favors him for being a regular foot. Look at him as snapper any given year.
Yep.
He's liable to win that. So that's a comparison for lowers. Plus what you're saying. Plus he's now finding the rhythm of surfing 10 heats instead of 3.
And it's not,
or 2 potentially.
And it's not like lowers is a taxing wave. It's not like he's got long paddle outs. It's not like it's main break Margaret River where surfing, 10 heats out there or whatever it is would just exhaust you physically. You could surf all day at lowers and not be exhausted.
He certainly can.
Yeah.
So now you have a scenario, if that plays out the way that we just described it, where Gabriel Medina clearly won the season. He's also clearly the better surfer, like more well-rounded surfer, because we've never seen Felipe charge the big barreling reef breaks, and he probably won't. We're going to go to Chopu. We'll see what he does there. So Gabriel's the more well-rounded surfer, plus he accumulated who knows how many more points through this season, but he loses because Felipe can surf lowers better.
The other added thing about this, just imagine how much pressure there's going to be on the judges to kick, say it's Gabriel and Felipe in the final, and say Felipe is surfing better than Gabe, but not a huge margin better. there's going to be so much pressure on the judges to kick Gabriel through just so they don't have to have this hanging over them, right?
It's a lot of liability here.
I don't know how how Gabriel, if it's him and Felipe at the end say, how Gabriel will not have a basically point advantage per wave, or at least a half point advantage per wave, based purely on the WSL not wanting to have egg on its face.
Which is hugely problematic.
It's completely problematic, and which is what everybody's going to be thinking.
Right. For the record, the rankings right now are actually Gabriel, Idolo, Felipe, Morgan Siblick, and Griffin Colapinto, who could also shred lowers. So what would be even crazier is if somebody other than Brazil wins.
Yeah.
The whole nation of Brazil surf fans would be enraged.
I mean, if Griff gets ends fifth, and gets on a hot run,
yeah, he could win lowers.
He could win lowers.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Gabriel dominates the whole season. Brazil's looking at another world champ. And then boom, the local kid from lowers jumps.
Which was, there were many of the many negative comments, which I never took it before, but this is specifically an anti-Brazil move that the WSL was making. Did you read those?
Yeah.
Many comments of Brazilians, I presume, saying, you guys are tired of having a Brazilian champion and are trying to jimmy away that somebody else can win the championship besides a Brazilian, which, to their point, that this kind of looks like. If you get a Kalohe or a Griff in the top 5, they could win.
I'm of two minds about how the WSL needs to manage this from a PR standpoint. With that specific type of comment, there's no point in addressing it. No. Like, obviously, if you have no racial motivation at all, then don't even address it.
But also, though, it may have been a sub motivation. Like, they may, not a on the nose motivation, but maybe it was, they were thinking, oh, let's
cater to our market,
or let's just diversify. Let's have more countries have more of an opportunity, which essentially is anti-Brazilian because Brazil is so dominant right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But so part of me thinks, look, they are a giant cruise ship that needs to kind of plot out their turns. They can't just get a negative feedback on an Instagram post and then pivot instantly to a different direction. They have to get permits way in advance. They have to, this stuff takes a lot of planning. But the feedback has been consistently, like, you can't not take the feedback. The feedback has been consistently in one direction, and not that this one idea is a bad thing, but kind of their overall direction that they're headed is a bad thing. So the cruise ship is plotting this course over here. And if you just take the feedback in its totality, it's saying that you should be going over here. So I don't understand how they don't make the adjustment based on the totality of the feedback.
Because I think they think you don't know what you want. We're going to give you what you actually want, and you're going to like it. And so they're really hoping, I'm sure, hoping beyond hope, probably, like where it can't even be mentioned in the room, that there's a way this could turn out badly. They're thinking, we're going to have so much excitement on this day. It's going to be this thrilling, all these people sitting back hating it now will be completely engaged on every single heat. It'll be a day of surfing that they love. And at the end, we will crown the champion that's the rightful champion. I don't think they're even letting the scenarios that we discuss in the room at all.
It's completely misreading their audience then.
But see, the problem is,
because we do know what we're talking about.
But if it's a thrilling day and Gabriel Medina comes out on top, that's the problem. Is they weren't I think they blew it in not thinking that Gabe was going to have such a dominant year. That's really the whole problem here. I mean, it's a dumb idea for a multitude of reasons, but they didn't think if Gabriel didn't come out and have a dominant season, if the season was, a couple hundred points separating top 2, a couple hundred points separating 2 from 3, then it'd be no big deal, right? This final day, the problem really is only, to be honest, that Gabriel crushed.
And the venue.
Sure,
if there was a shootout at Pipe, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And that would be dramatic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they've given themselves the least amount of options to have a successful day.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be that exciting of a day when it's at, lowers. And if there's disparity between the points, it also just kind of undermines the whole effort.
I mean, I think this is why they built the wall of positive noise, though, is they will mow over and will negativity away. And I think they feel, you fickle people, you fickle people, you're going to come on, you're going to like it, you're going to talk negative, you're going to like it. We're going to mow you down with positivity.
I understand Facebook's plan in doing that, because despite people's gripes and complaints, they stay on the platform, utilize it 8 hours a day, and spend all their money there in terms of their advertising dollars. So Facebook goes, hey, keep complaining.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep using you.
Yeah.
Essentially, the WSL doesn't benefit from that luxury.
They don't, but I think they think it doesn't matter, that more people will continue to watch surf. People will never stop watching it. Like, really and truly, I mean, listeners and commenters have said for a while now, you guys should just stop talking about it, right?
I agree.
Like,
I kind of agree.
Stop talking about it, and that's the only way it'll break, or a way, because I don't know what the relative power is, nor do I know really what the relative appetite for professional surfing is. But if surf media got together and said enough, they've built a thing that we no longer enjoy nor like, and the majors in surf media said no more. If the whole thing would topple over, or if people would say, actually, oops, surf media is the thing that was small and weak. The WSL
it could totally
has enough, inertia. Get it? Inertia.
Yeah.
Because they won't stop talking about it.
But that's the thing, is we all stopped talking about the inertia. It was fun to kind of lambast the inertia 5 years ago. It's no fun anymore because it's just so absurd. It's not even relevant to our conversations that we want to have, but it still exists in the periphery, and probably is a more profitable business than anything that you and I are involved in.
Is it? I don't know about that.
I have no idea. You know what I mean? So, but good for them. They can exist, and surfing can be that, and it could be the WSL, and it could be this, and it could be everything else. But to our listeners' point, they're probably right. We do need to stop talking about it, because, by the way, I'm only getting more deranged by talking about it. It's just driving me more insane, And I again thought that, or worried that, we were being too harsh at times. But when you then see the criticisms that we leveled a year or two ago, now just kind of being the general public's thoughts, and not because we influenced those people on Instagram that are leaving those comments. They don't listen to us. That's just the general public can look at this very matter-of-factly and go, this makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Julian Wilson's retirement. Do you have thoughts?
It just seems like when I read it or heard it, I was totally indifferent, it just seems like the end of an era of professional surfing, right? Where I'm neither sad about nor whatever. Like, Julian, I think, is one of the lucky ones who went out and crushed his, Julian made a lot of money surfing, had some exciting video parts, was completely underwhelming as he was supposed to win titles, right? He was never even
under-delivered his potential.
Yeah, it was never even spitting distance within a title, right?
Yeah, he got second place a couple of times.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Good for him.
I think that one. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did. Did he win pipe?
He's a pipe master.
Pipe master. So great. Good on him. Like, didn't fulfill his potential in terms of winning a championship, but threw some great video parts, was a fun surfer, and I will not miss him for 1 millisecond. Will you?
No, sadly, I won't miss him as a competitor. If I could surf like anybody, he would be in my top kind of 3 list, probably. His surfing is so unbelievable.
Yep.
And I mean, style, fundamentals, crazy airs, that alley-oop at Karamas, the free surf alley-oop.
Well, and he committed, brave, drops in, never pulls
Choku
back.
performances, pipe performances.
Wonderful surfer.
All of it. Cloud break performances. So huge fan. We'll still see all of that stuff from him. So to answer your question, will I miss him on the CT level? No. He's just been taking up space recently and underperforming. And it's unbelievably frustrating.
Yeah.
And, to be honest, we might be able to blame the WSL for that one too. It could be an indictment of the criteria. It's probably more reflective of he has other interests in life and his focus is diffused. He wants to spend time with his gorgeous wife and his beautiful kids, you know?
Imagine you're Julian
for
Wilson
him.
looking down, looking at those coming up behind you and realizing you basically sucked the entire marrow out of the bone. There's so little left. Like the Morgan Siblics, et cetera, of the world are going to have to work twice as hard for, I mean, not that surfing is work, but there's not the opportunity for them anymore. For this next generation coming up, there's not the multi-millions of dollars. For a Kanoa, I think there is as sort of a big personality. That's why the battle of the personal brands is more fun to me. But, you know, not that surfing is about money, but I don't know. These guys coming up are not going to be stars or feted or treated as such the way that Julian and Jordy and that batch of Dane.
There's a batch that will, but it won't be merit based.
Yeah.
Or a small factor in the equation is going to be merit.
Yeah.
You know, Connor O'Leary, those guys, like they have all the talent in the world, but if you can't do the song and dance for the algorithm,
you're not even going to get a sponsor.
No.
Yeah.
No. So Morgan Siblics better figure that out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Julian, by the way, for the record, he didn't officially retire. He's just going on hiatus through COVID.
He should retire.
Well, I mean, I think that he's unofficially retiring. But good on him. Hopefully we see more of him free surfing. I got a listener question about, is Jonah Hill turning into Chaz?
Uh-oh. Let's hear it.
I mean, that's the extent of it, basically. I mean, they sent me a paragraph. I didn't write the whole paragraph down or copy it, but that's basically the sentiment of it. Are you following Jonah Hill?
I mean, I follow him. I saw his movie we posted on Beach Crit, the little surf clip. Did you see that?
Well, it was made by Jack Coleman, actually.
Oh, it was?
Our buddy Jack Coleman.
Jack Coleman made that?
Yeah.
Sweet. I couldn't tell if it was was Jonah Hill involved in that, or was Jack just posted on the beach making fun of Jonah Hill?
He wasn't making fun of. It was a commercial. Jack is somehow involved with 88 surfboards.
Yeah, which I'm confused about 88 too.
Me too.
Yeah, the whole thing was confusing to me.
It's a soft top brand, and Jonah has been riding those boards or hanging out with the crew behind those boards.
Yep.
And Jack's involved with that brand. So I think Jack, filmed some of the surfing on those boards and then put together a little clip.
But it didn't make Jonah look any good.
Jonah doesn't know. Jonah doesn't even know that he's looking kooky.
Really?
Yeah.
Jack did.
Yeah, but the way they made it into like a little art piece that it's, do you expect Jonah to be shredding? First of all, I didn't. So I watch it and it's not making fun of Jonah.
To be honest, I expect Jonah to be popping to his feet a lot better than that. He's been surfing now.
It takes years, dude.
It doesn't take years to get to your feet without what he was doing was something I've never seen done before. And he's been surfing long enough to not do that.
He's not exactly in shape.
Sure, but still, what he was doing again was wild.
He does better than that. You're right. Jack did not use clips of Jonah because Jonah posted a couple of clips this week.
Cruising down the line.
Yeah.
Saw him.
I didn't see him get to his feet.
Yeah. But am I becoming him or is he becoming me?
He's becoming you.
How though? Negative? Angry?
No. His appearance.
Blonde? Fat?
Blonde, tattooed. He's wearing long, flowy clothes.
Oh, okay.
Sunglasses indoors.
Okay.
All of that. Yeah,
like
blonde hair.
I like it, and I'll take it.
He's rocking the vibe.
I still want Jonah on the program here.
I don't know how to get him.
I don't either.
I feel like he would.
Yeah. Why not?
So I told you a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago, I was like, dude, is Jonah just like, he's discovered acid for the first time. And he's just on a trip.
Yeah.
His whole vibe is shifted.
He's a surfer. I mean,
it's more than a surfer.
Sure, but patron saint of the Vals, I don't think is a lightly held. I mean, I think he really is becoming.
He doesn't know it though.
Of course he doesn't, but he's the patron saint. He's this icon. He's becoming an iconic surf figure for Vals. And I do not mean that negatively at all. The Val does have a negative connotation or can, but I feel over this time that Val has been in our vocabulary now as vulnerable adult learners. I've seen a lot of positive in it too, right?
We've discussed it on the show. We're developing an appreciation for it.
Precisely. And so Jonah Hill as patron saint of the Vals is not a negative indictment of Jonah Hill. No. It just is a fact, but that's what's happening. And Jonah Hill now, so I suppose you get the hero you deserve. We deserve Jonah Hill. And that is, again, not negative. Past generations deserved, I guess, Mickey Dora or
True.
Andy Irons or Kelly Slater. we deserve Jonah Hill.
It's so true.
That's who we deserve.
Just like Donald Trump, Jeff Bezos, Kim Kardashian are a reflection of and a representation of the society that we're living in. Whether you like them or not, they are a reflection of the way that we're behaving right now.
Jonah Hill is
our value system.
Jonah Hill is a reflection of surf,
which I embrace because I actually like Jonah Hill a lot. Like as an actor and all that sort of stuff. Like I'm a huge fan of his.
Would you rather?
So I'm okay with him being.
And I'll put it out there as argument. Mickey Dora was an angry grifter, right? He was an angry, mean thief. Maurice Cole gets real mad when I talk about him that way. But let's just say that's who he is. Jonah Hill is a lovable, gregarious, makes funny movies. You know, who would you rather have? All I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would rather have Mickey Dora, but...
Well, but it is what it is.
Sure.
It is what it is. It's just surveying what's happening.
And it's not negative.
But you're right, though, in terms of being the, what for the Vals?
Patron saint.
The patron saint of the Vals. He's riding soft tops, making commercials for soft tops.
Yep.
He is the most flamboyant person in the lineup with the least talent.
Yes.
And that is exactly what personifies.
Colorful wetsuits, I think, from time to time.
The long john or the
exactly,
short john.
Exactly. Short john, bleached hair. I mean, I haven't been to Malibu in a while and haven't surfed Malibu in even longer. Seeing that clip made me think, who in their right mind would not go out, paddle out there and just be incensed? It seems like a real junk show.
It is.
Like people have no idea what they're doing. Everybody's dropping in on everybody. So I suppose if you're out there on an 88 soft top, better yet, and does Album do a big old soft top?
They do.
Better yet, on an Album soft top, and you're out there just like kicking your board at everybody because it's soft and you're not caring, you're not mad, and you're letting everybody drop in on you and you're trying to weave around them and all that. If that's what it was, which I suppose is what Mickey Dora was doing. Everybody's dropping in on him and he was weaving and kicking and dodging and splashing. And if that was part of the fun surf experience, and then when it gets big, nobody goes out except for you. And
everybody goes out still. They just get swept around. And
I mean, I guess to what's his name? To bro got sprayed in the face by Dev Howard.
Yeah, that's right. Lunakai.
Yeah, Lunakai was out there on a bigger day.
Man, we don't talk about Lunakai enough anymore.
No, I wonder if he's sad.
It was a good couple of weeks.
It was a good couple of weeks, but I'm glad that it's over.
Me too. That's so Jonah Hill as the patron saint of the Vals, Malibu being the venue for it. Waikiki could be the equivalent in Hawaii, where they've just accepted everybody burns everybody. This is what you do. You're loud and you're boisterous in the lineup. You make a scene and everybody has fun with it. You don't get incensed. And you come here to do this.
Totally. And part of the fun of riding waves is weaving around other people. Which I've loved that at Waikiki. I paddled out of Waikiki multiple times and had as much fun seeing some, Val dropping in front of me and thinking, oh, this is fun. Am I going to take a high line around them or a low line, right? Like where you're out on your big fat board, just enjoying the day.
There's 10 of them.
Sure, I know, but that weaving around people becomes part of the fun of riding that wave. Like without those people there, it's not like Waikiki is you're like flowing along and it's great, but it's not like that's like this is, it gives you an activity to do on the wave, which Malibu is not the same as Waikiki in that way. But
the problem is it's such a different mindset at those two spots. You have to, even as a somewhat talented surfer, you paddle out there, you forget about all of the etiquette. Yeah. You forget, like if I get up and I see that clean wall at Malibu or Waikiki, I have to forget about the idea that this is my wave and I'm going to do this or that. You have to just accept there's going to be 5 people that go on that section. Yep. This is what it is. So the problem is all these learners learn there, then they go surf somewhere else and they try and they don't know. They didn't learn the etiquette and the rites of passage and all that sort of stuff. So they bring that Val mentality to lowers.
I need to go to Malibu. Do you think that there's really no enforcement, no Malibu grumpy loke just out there? You think when Devin Howard goes to Malibu, he's not whistling people off waves, and he's spraying Lunakai in the face.
Yeah, I mean, he is getting waves, but he is not. People are still burning him, and he's not reprimanding them when he gets burned.
He's spraying them in their faces.
Exactly. That's the most you could do.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, which is good, but you're still going to get burned. Yeah, remember when Carla Zamora tried to lay down the law a month ago?
Yeah.
She Malibu Karen.
Malibu Karen with us piling on top of her.
For good reason.
Yeah.
We're running out of time, but do you have time? Do you have to get out of here?
I got a 11:30 hard out.
Okay.
20 minutes.
Okay. I'll try to rush through this listener email. You can comment on it if you like. Scales Smith, with regards to your last episode with the hiring of a grumpy local to exterminate local youth with poor lineup etiquette.
Great idea. I forgot about that one.
And it's a perfect segue to what we were just talking about. He said, I did some research. In London, amongst many other major international cities, took to the hiring of a hawk to eliminate the pigeon infestations they were experiencing in their metropolitan area. In the early 2000s, flocks of pigeons were residing in Trafalgar Square, creating a visual eyesore and a world-class mess amongst the streets. The mayor at the time took to hiring a Harris hawk named Lemmy. With the powerful shoulders and penetrating gaze, Lemmy has eradicated the majority of these flying vermin and restored order once more to this historic town. Some consider this method uncouth. However, the results speak for themselves. Bring on the mercenary grumpy local, educate these youth, and they will reap the rewards as they age with grace.
Proof pudding. As he uses the word mercenary, I think... you know who has exported many, I don't know if they're wonderful, but many mercenaries in its time? South Africa. Maybe we need to go to South Africa and get South African grumpy locals and
Export them.
Who needs one, right? Groups get together, pay the salary.
We'll set up a GoFundMe.
60 grand, 70 grand.
Where do we send, what lowers? What lineups do we send them to?
I mean, so the lowers locals are going to have to get together and buy their own.
Okay.
They'll have to, we just need to build a platform. Okay. Hire a mercenary. I feel Rand dollar exchange, A, for South Africa. B, again, South Africa has a history of sending mercenaries, usually always for war, blood diamonds, various struggles, etc. But, it's all good. Used to being mercenaries, just pluck South Africans, send them everywhere.
The one problem I have with this analogy, I don't know that it can exist in or in California. I think it can exist in Hawaii. I think it can exist probably New Jersey, elsewhere.
Because you think it's too litigious?
Yeah. The pigeons couldn't sue the hawk. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, though. This is already ahead of you. South African's just going to get deported.
Oh, I see. It's built into his exit strategy is built into his plan.
Deportation. Like, he doesn't have to show up for, he can show up for court. They're not going to throw him in jail. He's not going to do anything that's, we'll tell him. He'll have his marching orders where, if you can.
He gets it.
Yeah, don't, like, any broken property is not going to win in court. He'll just get deported at worst.
But the punch that he landed on the 16-year-old kid who snaked him will reverberate through the community.
Precisely.
And there'll be another mercenary replacing him.
Precisely.
Okay.
Like, it's all built in. All built in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we name him Lemmy?
Yeah, we can. We can name them all Lemmy.
I think they're all Lemmy.
Yeah. It's perfect.
It's a perfect name.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay,
wonderful.
Good.
Yeah.
Great feedback from the listener. Thanks
Exciting.
for that. Let's go to commercial.
I'll
come back with a couple of PSAs before we do Barrel or Not.
Great.
Hey, Chaz, did you imbibe athletic greens while you were in Italy?
I did.
Did
but
you?
Guess what?
You're out.
I ran out for Italy. I imbibed in Mexico. I was in Mexico first.
Okay.
Imbibed in Mexico. Ran out for Italy. Started to feel dragging down. A little just, tired. Came home. First thing I did the morning after landing, athletic greens. Guess who didn't get jet lag?
You.
This guy.
No
jet lag at all.
Oh, I never thought about using it for that.
I didn't have jet lag going either, but
so I've got a new pack coming to you. They're doing a full brand refresh.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Different colorway?
I haven't seen it yet, but I presume.
New
logo, new everything. But
do we get merch?
I don't think they have merch.
Why don't they have merch?
I don't know. I'll look into it. I don't even care about the merch.
I'd rock athletic greens just because I like it so much.
I know. I'm shocked. If any listeners who aren't already using it, and I'm actually, the more I've been involved with them, the more I realize listeners should have been drinking this before you and I started talking about it.
Sure.
Tim Ferriss has been talking about it for years. I remember hearing about it on his podcast probably 7 years ago, was kind of my first exposure to it. I hear it on other podcasts that I listen to now, finance related stuff. Like everybody's talking about it.
It's the best.
It's the best.
It's literally, honestly, when they have their IPO, I'm going to buy all the stock because
We should get early access to that.
we should get, it's going to shame Laird Superfood
Totally.
in the supplement food drink category.
I can't believe energy drinks. I won't say any brands.
Yeah.
I can't believe energy drinks even exist that are full of sugar and have detrimental, like a spike and a detriment afterwards, when this exists on the market.
I mean, this gives you it takeoff through the clouds, and then you're soaring all day.
Synapses firing,
Yep.
energy levels, digestion.
Healthy. Imagine too, this Delta variant raging through the world again. I don't know that Athletic Greens stops the Delta variant.
I cover the Delta variant up with that beautiful green powder.
I feel that I do too. Where's it going to go? How is it going to find purchase in my lung
It can't.
when I have,
Agreed.
Athletic Greens?
athleticgreens.com/surf.
Please use the /surf. They
Have to use the splash.
They have to know how many surf fans love this.
And also set up a monthly subscription so you don't have to worry about it. There's a lot of things in your life that you have to think about and remember. Don't make this one of them. Don't make your health one of them.
Amen.
athleticgreens.com/surf. All right, Chaz, back from commercial.
PSA, I'm excited. I
Couple
love
of
PSAs.
Couple of PSAs. This one came in from a listener. I don't know if he wants me to use his name or not, but we were talking about that girl, Rebecca Speak, who hit her head in the pool.
Yes.
And I sent you the video, I think,
watched
after the
it.
fact.
Yep.
Where her speech is all
Yep.
stuttered and all that. So this guy said, I had a bad concussion surfing at a wave pool in Melbourne. It was late at night, 10 p.m., and I had surfed for 2 hours and just made a stupid mistake and went over the falls on a 3 to 4 foot chunky little barrel into the concrete with my head. Frankly, I could have died. And I woke up the next morning feeling dizzy, and the dizziness persisted for weeks after. Luckily, I am okay and have had a full recovery, but 2 things. I surf at reefs all of the time, and I've never had a head injury, and I rarely ever hit the rocks. He kind of goes on to say the amount of head injuries that is happening at wave pools is next level. But that was all about his personal experience. And then he basically just says, like,
Wear a
you
helmet.
really need wear a helmet and also look into this because it's happening at a alarming rate as compared to people who are surfing shallow reef breaks.
What is it about? Do you think that the water moves, obviously, I would imagine the water moves differently in a pool than it does, or is it the density of salt water, like gives you enough float to keep your head off the reef? Or, I mean, is there something that's happening?
You could probably come up with some science that would validate that, but I really think it's more a mindset. You're carefree in a pool.
Oh,
the
yeah.
pool feels playful. Like your guard isn't up. If I eat it in a surf spot in the ocean that I know is flat, you go starfish. You know, there's these things that you implement. If you're in a pool, you're just playing. You don't think there's a real threat.
Yeah.
And so I think that, number one, this is something that the pools are going to have to really look into and consider in their
Mandatory helmet?
and or signing, liability contracts, which you already do. But really consider what the implications
Will you wear a helmet the next time you surf a pool?
I'm inclined to.
Yeah.
I don't own a helmet, but I'm inclined to. He actually linked me. I should have included this information. He linked me to a really good, like a soft helmet that is doesn't affect you negatively.
See, the real bummer is, it's a horrible stigma of feeling like a kook in the helmet. Like knowing, oh man, I'm a kook. Paddling out in a helmet, I would just feel I'm a kook. But none of us should feel that way.
This is why it's a PSA, is to shift the stigma.
Let's normalize helmets.
Which, again, we've talked about it. It's happened already on the snow.
Yep.
So you're now a kook if you're not wearing a helmet in the snow.
Exactly. Let's normalize helmet for pools.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
do
fine
our
with
part.
it.
Yeah.
I agree completely. And another PSA. Weirdly, 2 people messaged me this week. We've talked about it in the past, but I'm going to re-hit it now because our PSA did not go as far and wide as it should have.
Okay.
When you're putting your surfboard on the top of your car on roof racks.
I got one of these too.
It needs to be upside down and backwards.
Fins forward, upside down.
Correct.
No other way will do.
You need it. You need know nothing about surfing at all to understand this. This is basic logic. But I would say far more than 50% of the time, I see the board in a different configuration than upside down and backwards.
I see it more often than not, I feel, upside down and forwards.
Correct.
Yeah.
Me too.
Not cool.
So again, I feel like I shouldn't even have to explain this, but if you're driving 60 miles an hour on a freeway, that board can slip out of the racks and there's nothing to prevent it from sliding out. The thinnest part of the board with no obstructions is in the front, which makes zero sense at all.
Yep.
So if you put the board upside down and backwards, the fins will stop it from getting sucked out the back.
Problem solved.
Also,
the tail's stronger than the nose.
Well, the tail also has less rocker than the nose, so it follows the contour of your car. Your car above the windshield is flat, and then it drops down in the back, and that's the way so in terms of just airflow, it follows the board. It won't create as much pull on the board out of the racks. Plus, the fins are there to block it. How dumb can people be?
If you cannot figure this out, buy a truck. Solve
if you
the
cannot
problem
figure this out,
and buy a truck.
What's sad to me is these are the people we're sharing the lineup with. They can't figure out basic aerodynamics.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean,
crazy.
Once again, upside down, fins forward.
Correct.
That's it.
Upside down and backwards. PSA. I guess it's not surf news, but a couple of people went to the moon or went to space this past week. Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos.
How big a piece of shit did Bezos look? Not only was he riding a penis rocket in his cowboy hat, it was truly, literally, Bezos challenged Zuckerberg for the biggest douche on the planet, like his program, wearing his dumb spacesuit with his cowboy hat that was like sucking in his head in a penis rocket has to be the peak douche.
With his watch strapped to the outside of his suit. Did you hear his laugh?
I didn't.
Oh my gosh. Was it
like a cackle?
Maniacal.
Yeah.
It's maniacal.
I mean, what?
But it's perfect.
What a giant douchebag.
Great memes this week. The one, there's a Dr. Evil comparison.
Yeah.
Where Dr. Evil, because remember he had a penis-shaped ship like blowing out of the, and he's bald and he's like, he looks exactly like Bezos.
What was Bezos thinking when he put that cowboy hat on his head?
He's a space cowboy. Some people call me a space cowboy.
I mean, what an idiot.
It's amazing. The other great meme I saw was like, best divorce scenario ever. Your husband gives you $50 billion, whatever the number is, $50 billion, and then leaves the planet.
I mean, perfect. Richard Branson's didn't bug me as bad as Bezos for some reason.
Not at all.
It seems like, because it's part of Branson's personal brand always, like, you know, fast sailboats and jets and whatever, like
adventure exploration.
Yeah. And so whatever, like, it seems like it's not my thing. I don't really care about going into space, but with Bezos, it just seemed like, oh my goodness, you're trying to be a man now.
Yeah.
Like this ain't working for you.
He's making up for a lot of lost time.
Yeah.
The other thing that is worth noting is the richest people on the planet with the most tech savvy are spending all of their time and energy on two things. One, leaving the planet.
Yep.
And two is life extension.
Yeah.
You know? And so whether you want to consider that for where you're going to invest your money or just what do they know that we don't know? Why are they trying to get off the planet?
Yeah.
These are important things to take note of.
Great.
Heed mark my words.
If Jeff Bezos is there, I don't want to be there. I will stay here and
go to a different planet.
Burn and
go to Elon's planet. Barrel or nah? Hard seltzer.
You know, I'm going to go barrel. Oddly enough, there's a time and a place for a hard seltzer. There's a couple good ones out there. There's Telago. Do you like Telago?
Never had it.
I don't think they use sugar, and so it's not like that crazy sweet. Yeah, I think the hard seltzer category broke out enough or broke open enough that now there's some good ones in there. And again, time and place. Shouldn't be always, shouldn't be often, but should be or could be sometimes.
Anytime you're in that place, there's another option that I would prefer.
What?
Vodka tonic.
Yes, but what if you don't want to get... Vodka tonic is gross.
Gin tonic. I don't drink vodka, actually.
Okay.
Gin and tonic.
Okay. What if you don't want to get super boozy? It's like at a, kid's birthday, and you can't be slamming a bunch of G&Ts. I hear you. Gin and
Less
tonic
gin.
is better.
So I'll put less gin in that scenario.
And I hear you. I hear you that it's weird, but again, time and place for the hard seltzer.
No, the idea of 5% alcohol has no purpose in my life.
I think hard seltzer is and can be a beer replacement.
That's what it is. Yeah, I think that's what it is. But that's what vodka or gin tonic.
Sure,
is.
but there's a time and a place to drink beer. If you want to swap that out with
rosé, a glass of rosé. Then
I'm going to say though, if you want to swap all that out with a hard seltzer and you got the right one, you got the right one, then I'm going to go barrel. It's surprising. It's surprising.
I'm anti.
I thought long and hard. And if any hard seltzer manufacturers are out there who want to get in the game or beer who want to get in the game, I've always thought the ultra hard, the Beach Grit ultra hard seltzer, ultra hard surf seltzer, would be good.
Kook Slams or one of those accounts has one now.
Okay.
I saw them posting. I was like, good for them getting into the booze
seltzer
game.
game.
People make tons of money on booze.
Yeah, I don't know how much room there's left in the seltzer game. I'm
either.
sure a lot of those are going to crash and burn. But
hard kombucha coming next.
I mean, again, Beach Grit can do a ultra hard kombucha.
That does exist. Somebody sent me some, and it was actually the flavors were really good. But again, I was like, this doesn't serve a place in my life.
If you do, I mean, does ultra hard surf kombucha have the same like probiotic blah blahs as kombucha?
Yeah.
So then theoretically, you're healing your intestines and getting a little buzz.
And damaging your liver.
Yeah.
Healing the intestines, damaging the liver at the same time.
Beautiful.
All right, so you're going barrel, I'm going nah.
I'm going barrel.
Naming your kid after a location. Austin is now on the table.
Oh, Austin's on the table? I would if I was you, take Austin off the table purely because of Austin Keene.
Is that the skimboarder?
Isn't Austin? Oh wait, I'm sorry. Keep it on. I thought there was an Austin Keene at the Surf Ranch for the
maybe there is
celebrity surf thing.
I have no idea.
Speaking of, next week we better put out our details on where the viewing party is.
Oh,
because we're coming
up.
Yeah, we're coming up.
It's been low on my list of things to do, but okay.
I'm gonna say barrel on naming your kid after a place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have said nah normally, but I like the name Austin so much, and this had nothing to do with us going to Austin recently, but 2 or 3 days ago, Lauren turned over and she's like,
Austin.
What about Austin? I'm like, you're right. That's a good name.
What would you call Austin? What's the nickname?
Well,
Austie?
Based on our previous emailer, he wanted to name his kid Ozzy.
Yeah.
We could call Austin Ozzy.
Sure.
Right?
You sure could.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm total barrel on place.
It's a contender.
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
Paris
is good.
Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, I have a feeling
Paris
like
Jackson.
generally those people are conceived in the location.
Yeah.
Dallas.
But I feel that you and Lauren have spent time in Austin together.
A couple times.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Like the place.
All right, cool. It's a contender. All right, barrel on that one. Final, barrel or not, going to the fair.
Oh.
This is a summer event here in Southern California. Obviously, it exists elsewhere too.
I'm a 3 for 3 barrel.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying, that fairs are obnoxious, but fairs are also a human stew.
It really is.
That's worth wading through once a year. I'm not saying go twice. If you go twice to the fair, you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
But when the fair comes into your town, if you don't go once, you get yourself a caramel apple, one of the finest desserts ever made by man. Caramel apple. Get yourself a weird fried thing just for fun. Bacon wrap, fried, Twinkie, something,
Yeah.
Don't go on rides, but send your kids on rides. Walk by the country music tent. Listen. Pay the $5 to see the extra large bowl in the secret tent room that you go around. The freaky bowl. There's some things to do at a fair.
So I'd never been to the Orange County Fair in my life.
Yeah.
I've been to like a fair in Colorado. I've been in different states, like small county fairs, and those I can appreciate. Last night I got roped into the Orange County Fair.
Yeah.
First time in my life.
Who was headlining that night, the music?
It was they were called Private Eyes. It was a
ska band?
cover band of like 80s songs.
Okay.
Private Eyes.
Nice.
We're watching you. You know that song?
I like it. No, but I like hearing it.
I just didn't sing it well. Anyways, it was insane for all the reasons I never wanted to go to the fair. It was completely validated last night. I don't know where these people come from. I felt like I was in a different state.
Of course.
Maybe
it's
a
fair
different
people.
country. It was
people who like fair.
Crazy town.
What did you get to eat?
Well, there was a bunch of stuff that we aspired to eat, but the lines were so long, it wasn't even worth it. All we ate was a corn dog and French fries.
Good choice, but what did you aspire? What was the aspiration?
They had like a barbecue stand that had brisket on waffle fries.
Okay,
or
good.
like a mixed meat platter on waffle fries.
Yum.
Among the fried food, there was the deep fried stuff.
Yep.
For novelty purpose.
Sure.
Is interesting to me. Deep fried Twinkie, deep fried Oreo. They have a deep fried butter.
Deep fried ice cream.
I don't know what deep fried butter is.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm curious. I just don't want to wait 20 minutes in a line to pay $18 for the thing.
One time I was working at a Little League game, I think, for my sister's son's team. We were working together in the thing. They had a deep fryer. I'd never been around a deep fryer before. And I was volunteering, and I thought, well, I'm volunteering here. I'm going to deep fry a candy bar because I never had a deep fryer. So I just threw a Snickers into the oil.
Without any batter?
No, and realized, that's not how you deep fry something. The whole thing just melted all over. And I was like, oops, that was not a good idea.
And then they had to change out the oil and everything.
I don't know
or everything tasted like Snickers.
I think everything tasted like Snickers.
Gross.
Yeah.
Burned too, because you can't leave it in there for very long.
No,
It gets worse and worse.
Yep.
Man, so last night was a traumatic experience.
So you're never going back to the fair. You're not going to take Austin
I
to
wish I could.
my first fair.
No.
You got to take Austin and ride the janky rides.
I'll take him to a different state. I'm going to take him to Kansas, and we'll go to the local fair there in a county.
Because you just don't want him to be traumatized by inland California people.
Not only that, it was like you're on asphalt.
Yeah, it's hot.
You're just on asphalt it's dirty, it's gross. The rides they're like blasting music out of the rides. It feels like this cacophony of sound.
It's great.
It was
one evening a year.
Man.
That's what the
I wish
doctor
I could
orders.
have that evening back.
Yeah.
Walking around the whole night. By the end of the night, we were exhausted.
I mean, it feels to me like you did it wrong. What time did you go and what time did you leave?
6 o'clock, 10 o'clock. We're there for 4 hours.
Well, that sounds about right. I think 6-9 is better.
Even Lauren. So Lauren and her sisters, they have a blast all the time. Last night, she's like, yeah, this wasn't the same. It probably has to do with coronavirus. It was a different experience.
Did it have to do with you? Was
Yeah,
your
it did.
negative attitude
From the beginning
sucking down everyone's
I tried
fun?
not to. Yes, it did completely. And then everybody's trying to buoy my spirits, and I'm just like, I don't know, whatever you guys say, like, look around. How are you seeing this differently than me? How are you experiencing this?
Don't you feel bad that you would just think this was a thing for them? This was a thing they did and a thing they would have done.
They need to not invite me next time.
Yeah.
The girls need to go by themselves.
That's true. Well, at least you know that.
Yeah. And I think I laid down the gauntlet for them, and they understand.
Like, you guys go and have fun. But
He will spoil things. Never invite him to anything.
just think next year when they go, they're going to say, yeah, this is so fun. David's not here anymore. They're going to try to get it up, and it's going to be just sadness.
Yeah. Hopefully we just do something cool next year.
I mean,
Let's go to the beach.
nothing's cooler
Let's
than
go to
fair.
the dog beach and throw the ball for the dog. That's fun.
One day a year, one evening a year, 3 hours a year, 4 hours a year.
Here's a better idea. Let me stay home on the sofa.
I mean, that's what's going to happen. How many times are you going to do that, though, with you and Lauren?
We've done it enough already.
Okay.
COVID really made that the protocol.
Sure, but
We've got
we're
enough of it for the rest of our lives.
sure. But where she went out somewhere and you're like, that's not my thing.
Yeah, not often.
Sitting home.
Not often.
Okay.
You got to go. Chaz, great show. One thing we didn't tell people, we have a listener line now. Did I tell you this?
No.
Listeners can call in and leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on air.
That is so fantastic. It's better than even reading emails on air.
It really is, because I always botch the emails anyways by reading them. So call in on the listener line. I put it on our contact page on surfsplendorpodcast.com. So go get that. Leave us a message. We set up the forums on the website for people to banter in. I need to really advertise that better.
I need to get in there.
I need to advertise it better. What I'm going to do is post the topics on social media and direct people to it.
Great.
Because we really got to stimulate that. I kind of didn't look at it for a few days, and I think it just... Anyways, forums on the website if you're a subscriber. The listener line is free for all. And engage.
Beautiful.
All right. Thanks, Album Surf. Thanks, Athletic Greens. Thanks, Chaz Smith. Welcome back.
Oh, thanks so much. Welcome back to you, too.
Thank you. Until next week.
Get barrel.